1 week, folks. 1 week till Election Day. The breakdown starts now. Welcome to the breakdown. I'm Tara Setmayer. The Rick Wilson will be joining us momentarily. But in the meantime, we have a lot to get to. We are literally in the home stretch at this point. 1 week to go until the midterm elections. Many of you have already early voted, and there are record-breaking turnouts in some states like Georgia, which we like to hear. And there's just been a lot going on. And of course, because it's Tuesday, before we get into everything that we've missed since the last time we were all together, there's last week in the Republican Party to remind us.
Because nobody put Davey in the corner.
Any actor who's been canceled is now my favorite actor.
You want to teach them that recreational marijuana is great, just go out and smoke a joint, or that voting on sports contests and horse racing.
Screw Biden, screw the State Department, screw the CIA.
Unfortunately, I had to go to California for about 6 hours.
Pretty soon, you're going to be told that Herschel eats live kittens under a full moon at midnight. And that's ridiculous. Everyone knows kittens are breakfast food.
Because I've won all the races that I've been in over my life, except one, the big one.
Elon Musk now owns Twitter. It is like the liberation of France from the National Socialist Workers' Party. It's like the fall of the Berlin Wall.
And what if the assailant said, "Where's Nancy?" Not because he was after Nancy Pelosi, but he wanted to make sure she was not home.
They don't even like the American flag. We do.
What Elon Musk is doing in San Francisco! Elon Musk!
You think Biden can do that? I don't think so.
Drink the tears, so salty, so delicious. They're so I sip them.
I'm trying to clean up my language. Mrs. Stone and my pastor are pretty happy about that.
I know you can't vote yet, right? But you know what you can do? Go find a few people who weren't going to vote and convince them to vote for me.
Do you look like we got peanuts in our brain? We're smarter than that.
Elon Musk, if you're listening, I'm waiting patiently.
We have to defund the FBI and the Department of Justice.
There's no church. There's no separation of church and state.
Right.
The church and state are one.
This is one of the reasons why early voting is super duper bad. I voted early.
Wait until they put me back on Twitter. The leftists will go out of their minds.
A lot of people get hit with hammers.
I have been on the record, and I'll say it again, democracy is a bad idea.
The Rick Wilson is back with us. Rick, I know you saw some of the last week in the Republican Party. I mean,
I did indeed.
They always tell the truth. I mean, democracy is a bad idea. There is no separation between church and state. The state is the church is the state. I mean, this is what these people believe, and this is what's on the ballot next Tuesday. And I just don't know that the case has really been made outside of us and a handful of others about what is in store if these crazies get into power. That's what's in store. We started this to make fun of it, but this is real. These are the people that are going to win.
I don't think people understand the power this infrastructure has on the minds of Republican voters, and the garbage they will believe when it comes out of the mouths of these people. But it strikes me as just so ironic that Republicans used to be about integrity and personal character,
right?
And the people that are their big thought leaders that you saw in that video, Dinesh, Bannon, Benny Johnson, and Roger Stone, they are this collection of the most degenerate skells I've ever seen in my life. They are the most unbelievably nasty individuals you've ever hoped to meet.
Yep.
I mean, let's put it this way: 3 of those 4 have been in jail.
Right.
3 of the 4 have been in jail, and they are thought leaders in the Republican Party.
I think 2 out of the 3 of them have been in threesomes.
Well,
John Wilson. And one out of the three of them has 3 toes. I don't Yeah.
And God knows there may have been some farmyard animals involved with Bannon. I wouldn't know anything about it. It's just speculation on my part. Steve, stop.
But you were saying that these are the people.
But they're such a bunch of degenerate, weirdo scumbags. And I got to tell you, they are saying all the quiet parts out loud. They are not shy about it right now. They feel like they've got this thing in the bag. They feel like the House alone is enough to justify this sense of swagger that they have. And I have to be honest, folks, you have got, as of now, 6 days. If you can still vote early, and most early voting starts to wrap up Thursday, Friday this week.
That's right.
Make sure you get out to early vote if you're going to vote. And if not, make a plan for Election Day. I'm going to warn you right now. Election Day turnout is modeled in every significant state to be through the damn roof this year. If you are in line to vote, stay in line. If you are told to leave, don't leave. Your vote this year, it may take all damn afternoon. It may take all damn day. Stick it out.
Or early vote to avoid that.
If you can't figure out your day on Election Day, please get your early vote done. We had some good news out of Nevada tonight with 18,000 early votes in addition to the 20+ thousand that were in already. That changes the ball game a little bit for Democrats there. It improves it a little bit. But in a lot of these states, folks, the Republicans are planning a massive Election Day turnout. You need to be ready to do it all day if you can't vote early.
Yeah, that's have a plan. It's so, it's like that you're always taught to have a plan in case of an emergency, in case there's a hurricane, in case you get separated from your family. This is like that. You've got to have a plan if you're planning to vote on Election Day. I'm going to say something too about early voting. So my mom early voted over the weekend in New Jersey. And she's recovering from surgery. So my husband and I were up there visiting her. And also I had to attend a funeral of a very close friend of mine who passed away suddenly and tragically. And anyway, so we were in New Jersey. My mom goes to early vote, and she goes to show her license, and it comes up that her birth date is January 1st, 1800.
Okay. Well, look, she looks pretty good.
She looks damn good in general, but she looks pretty good for being over 200 years old. So, we were like, wait, hold on. What do you mean? Well, they let her vote though, because she was listed and everything was in the rolls, but the birth date was off. So it didn't sit well with her. So she actually called the Board of Elections in Bergen County and was like, what the hell is this? Now, there was an election worker there who couldn't find her name. Her license didn't scan. And, my mom was like, no. You need to look it up. I'm registered. So then another person came over, and that I guess was like a higher up, and they found her name in the rolls, and okay, let her vote, fine. But then it didn't sit with her, because she's like, what if they decide to go back and check this and they see that it comes up that my birth date is 1800, and then they throw out my vote? So she called the Board of Elections in Bergen County and talked to them, and they said, yeah, this is some kind of weird glitch that indicates to us that we don't have a birth date for this person. I can fix that for you right now. So she fixed it. But it required my mom to be diligent and follow up on it to make sure that her vote would count. And that's Bergen County, New Jersey, which is fairly well funded. It's not New York City or LA or Atlanta. And there's still little quirks there that if, she didn't follow up and wasn't vigilant with it, who knows what could have happened. So we have to, it's our responsibility to make sure that our vote, not only do you go and vote, but that your vote is counted and that everything is in order, because we already know that that Election Day could be chaos. And you've got the right wing is out there training poll watchers to do God knows what on Election Day. So it's all about being prepared. And I thought Jersey is happening.
And I will say this: this is an election where Republicans will be looking for any excuse to shut down polling places, to shut down facilities. They're going to try to, as quickly as they can on election night, say, "Oh, all the votes are in, we're done."
That's right. Carrie Lake says it all the time.
Yep.
We don't want them to be counting 10 days after and blah, 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 blah. If that's what it requires, and if that's what your state allows for, because votes coming in and they need to be tallied up, then that's what it should be. What about every vote counts? I mean, it's crazy. And we talk about this, we were laughing but serious about the last week in the Republican Party and some of the ilk that those people were spewing. That stuff is the mainstream. We've been saying this. This used to be the fringes. It's not anymore.
It's not the
and you know what happens? What happens is like what took place since the last time we were together on Friday with the attack on Paul Pelosi.
Mm-hmm.
That was, as you have said, Rick, that was a political assassination attempt against the Speaker of the House.
And every day that passes, every single day that passes, we are seeing more and more evidence. Today, that guy's employer was interviewed by the New York Times, and he said he was in the right-wing rabbit hole of Pizzagate, which was created by Jack Posobiec and a variety of other weirdos.
Which led to another crazy taking a automatic weapon, a semi-automatic weapon, and shooting up a pizza shop in Washington.
He was in the rabbit hole of thinking the Jews are responsible for everything wrong in the world. He was in the rabbit hole of election denialism and said every journalist who doesn't say that Trump won should be dragged out and shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy with every single symptom of the MAGA disease, the MAGA broken brain disease, and the fact that they're trying to cover up that this guy, he may have once been a Green Party nudist hippie, whatever, but what he is today and what he did what he is now, what he was at the time he tried to kill the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States of America, is a brainwashed MAGA stooge.
That's right. A radicalized right-wing MAGA stooge. That's exactly what he is. And he fits right into the profile of what the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI have confirmed is the biggest threat to our homeland, which is right-wing domestic extremism. That is right there. And we're seeing this over and over again. Do you know that they have opened up twice the cases for domestic terrorism since 2020, the FBI? They've had to create an entire new division. That's how prevalent this is, because this ilk is spewed repeatedly without equivocation and without repudiation by the people who are supposed to be the adults in the room in the Republican Party. They have allowed this to fester like this, and now it's manifesting itself through political violence. And they're rationalizing it. Over the weekend, I could not believe the amount of whataboutism and doublespeak and just dismissing this. And people like Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, where I live now, Mr. Sweater Vest, just,
he's one of the good ones.
One of the good ones. Bullshit. The good ones don't exist anymore, other than Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. I don't know who else. And they got voted out. So who are the good ones? Glenn Youngkin was supposed to be that guy, and he was right there with the rest of them, falling in line with this indecency and making light of what was an attempted political assassination against the Speaker of the House's husband. This is insane, but this is who you're voting for, people, when you pull the lever or mark that ballot for a Republican. It's not okay. And I'm not going to say what I want to say about a certain person that I was on News Nation with last night, but there was a Trump supporter degenerate on with me last night trying to whataboutism this. And, well, what about the guy that shot up the Bernie Sanders supporter who shot up the congressional baseball game practice, blah, blah, blah. We condemn that. Nancy Pelosi gave a beautiful, classy statement when that happened. That didn't have any of the political digs or any of this. Well,
none of the whataboutism bullshit.
None of that. So I don't want to hear it.
And look, this is these folks on the MAGA right. They know what happened. They just don't care.
Right.
The ones that and a lot of the gentry conservatives, the sort of like, I'm still a respectable National Review conservative types. They're doing the same sort of like, well, we don't know what happened. It could have been a gay lover spat, but they won't look at the problem that they're part of. They won't look at what they created. They won't look it in the eye and say, hey, this is fucked up. We can't do this. This isn't part of who we are, because it is part of who they are now.
Right, because they didn't stop it when it was fucked up, when Donald Trump came on the scene and did the myriad of things that were so messed up throughout his candidacy, from the time he descended down the escalator all the way to the grab him by the pussy video. They had so many opportunities to condemn this guy as a party, to say no, and they didn't. And it's just gotten progressively worse and worse and worse and worse. And now it's completely out of control. And they're so desperate for power that they're willing to go along with anything. That's how you lose your democracy. When people can rationalize violence, they rationalize indecency, they rationalize conspiracy theories, they rationalize all of the things that used to be fringe, that are antithetical to democracy. They rationalize it to normalize it, so the American people think, well, that's not so bad, as long as they give us our tax cut, as long as they're owning the libs. Well, next thing you know, you're going to be saying that in an authoritarian America.
Yep.
Well, at least you own the libs. Was it worth it?
At least you own the libs, guys. And for all of them that believe that you can just lie your way out of the box. Look, Americans have swallowed a lot of bullshit in the last few years. And a lot of them on the right side of the fence who have existed in this very cozy, comfortable political media ecosystem, even they know that there's an upper boundary. And I can't change their hearts. I can't change their minds. We're often asked at the Lincoln Project, what are you doing to convince the strong MAGAs? Nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
Well, my point, Tara, is that every time that something like this happens, it expands the universe of gettable Republican voters. Agreed. Not a lot, but a little.
That's right.
A Gannon line voter that we've been so good at talking to at the Lincoln Project the last 2.5, 3 years now almost, which is crazy. I feel like I've been doing this all my life. I feel very, very old, everybody.
Right,
this political audience, the respectable Republicans inside of it, there are still some who are not fully bought in. And if you can walk them back and say, listen, you're not fighting communism here. These are just Democrats. There's nothing to be scared of. And you tell them, it's like, if you associate yourself with the QAnon crazy people who are tweeting the Hala hoax on Twitter and kill the Jews on Twitter right now, that's a part of the Republican Party that Steve Bannon and Jack Posobiec and Dan Bongino and all these various nutcases and Tucker, they won't look away from it.
No.
They're like, there's no enemies to my right.
They're encouraging
That's a philosophy that ends up with you having people like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the Boogaloos and the various other lunatics running your party.
Yes. They're running for office. Mm-hmm. Never mind running the party, they're running for office. Mm-hmm. Doug Mastriano or Marchant out in Nevada, they're running for Secretary of State. Or
Michael's in Wisconsin.
Yes. Or the one in Arizona. Fincham, what's his name?
Mark Fincham.
Yeah, Fincham. They're all Oath Keeper adjacent supporters. They believe it. And they're all election deniers. And these people are running for office. There is a Secretaries of State group of these election deniers that are well organized. They had a conference over the weekend in Florida where they're all getting together for this evil cabal of what they're going to do to overturn an election result if they win in 2024 to make sure that Donald Trump or whatever crazy they have wins. That's not democracy. I think we have an ad talking about this.
I think
right?
we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's run it.
I am running because we are losing our country if we haven't lost it already. And the reason is because of election fraud.
I think the election was stolen from Trump.
I believe Trump won.
Half of the nation believes that this election was stolen from President Trump. And I agree with that.
The only way Democrats win is if they cheat, and we're stopping the cheating.
Do you think the 2020 election was stolen? No, you have said that.
I have totally said that, 100%.
What will the Secretary of State do when it comes to the 22 election? Will she do what she did the last time? Will she try to send absentee ballot applications out to everyone?
Hundreds of thousands of votes are allowed to be considered as lawful votes, and we know they're illegal.
We don't have an election that we can trust. If we can't ensure that our ballots are being counted properly.
There was
proven irregularities with voting machines.
I hope that you've seen 2,000 Mules. I would like to investigate if any of that is provable.
Same-day voter registration causes fraud.
And we had Mark Zuckerberg putting money in to alter the results.
We're not going to allow what happened in Brazil. We're not going to allow what happened in 2020.
Will you accept the results of your election in November?
I'm going to win the election and I will accept that result.
If you lose, will you accept that?
I'm going to win the election and I will accept that result.
We know it, and they know it. Donald Trump won.
I mean, it's its own words, Rick.
This is, I want people to mentally prepare yourselves. No matter what happens, just as we told you, and Tara and I spent time on this show in 2020 in the run up to the election day telling you it will not be over until Joe Biden puts his hand on the Bible and takes the oath of office. You are going to see the same thing this year. They are going to fight us in court, in the streets, politically, in media, in their propaganda effort to claim that Republicans won seats they didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take this thing and turn it into an incredibly ugly and dangerous shit show for this country. It is vital. It is absolutely vital that you beat them so badly in the states they can't even cheat. Okay, folks, you got to get out there. You got to get out there and vote. You've got to whip them so hard that they cannot even claim credibly that they won. You got to beat them by 10 points, not 2 points.
And the thing about it, Rick, is that there are, the 6 states where Biden won by less than 1.5 percentage points.
Right.
And several of them less than 1 percentage point. Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Trump won by a very small margin, though. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. These are places where the Nevada, too, I think, where the margin was like 1% or so or less. This is what's going to happen. I mean, Arizona, and we've been talking about this because it really is, to me, a microcosm of everything that is dangerous, wrong, that we should be alarmed about at every level on the ticket, right? From the governor's race to the Senate race to the Secretary of State race. Mark Fincham is another one of these people who is a complete lunatic, Oath Keeper sympathizer, January 6th financer, sympathizer, who has told us what he will do if he wins Secretary of State. And every single one of those people has a shot. Now, Mark Kelly, last poll I saw, it was 51-45, but that doesn't mean shit, okay? People, do not get too excited here. Do not get excited.
Folks, Arizona and Nevada, if you can do things there, if you can volunteer to make calls into those states, if you can volunteer, if you're in those states, anything you can do in those 2 states is really important to the future of this country.
Hugely important.
Vitally important.
We have a Fincham clip I want to run. You don't believe us? Listen to him himself.
Mark Fincham for Arizona Secretary of State? Get real. Fincham is a QAnon fanboy and habitual liar who got caught trying to illegally overturn the election, was there on January 6 with insurrectionist terrorists who attacked our capital and are currently headed to jail. But that's not all. He's encouraged armed thugs to intimidate Arizona voters, is a proud member of the domestic terror group the Oath Keepers, doubled down when he was busted for pushing hate and anti-Semitism, and he tried to stop people from mail-in voting despite voting 28 times by mail himself.
Donald Trump won.
This is the resume of the man who wants to run Arizona's elections.
That is absolutely crap.
He's not just wrong, he's crazy. Mark Fincham, unhinged, unqualified, unelectable.
It's that simple.
It's that simple.
It's that simple.
It shouldn't be competitive. What that ad brings up too is the voter intimidation part of this, which is a story that's been ongoing, Rick, for the last couple of weeks since early voting started. Arizona, once again, another one of the places where you have these armed thugs sitting out there. No, not the black armed thugs that Fox News fixated on. during the last couple of election cycles where they had them out there with at polling
there
places.
were there in the 2000
Black Panther Party.
Right. In the 2008 election, there were two guys from the Black Panther Party in Philly who were in front of a polling place. Fox News probably ran 25 packages on those guys in the weeks to follow the election. And
now their people are armed, storming the Capitol. That not just tourists, and now just tourists. And now you have people that are doing straight up voter intimidation at drop boxes when people come, filming them walking around, imposing. Just their presence is imposing, because you're like, who the fuck are these guys? You're just trying to go vote. It's not okay. And then you have what's going on in Florida with what that jerk off Ron DeSantis did by arresting people who were given voter ID cards by the election offices, who thought they were able to vote, and there was a loophole that technically they weren't, and he arrests them. Pure voter intimidation, and it's aimed mainly at minorities, and we already know this.
No, it's not happening. They're not doing it in the places where Republican voter fraud exists, like Hialeah.
Right, and the villages.
And they're not doing it in the villages. Exactly right, Tara. They're not doing it in the villages. So this is a selective, targeted way to intimidate and suppress voters.
That's right.
And if you believe in that, and you're a Republican, if you believe that that's a legitimate activity, don't be surprised when the shoe is on the other foot. And
that's
people are watching you try to harass people. People are filming you harassing people. I know that's a spiral that's just going to get crazier and crazier.
And no one wants that. No one wants that.
To the credit of the folks in Arizona, they're out there now watching these armed thugs.
Yes.
They're filming them. And you know what? They don't like that at all. And these guys are covering up their license plates. They don't want to get doxxed. And I know, because they don't want to have to explain to mom why they got doxxed.
Right.
But they are out there in force right now. And they feel very empowered at the moment.
They do. And we want to make sure that they don't, because we do not want to give them that power by acquiescing to their intimidation. And I am proud to say that the creative team was able to work their magic once again and get a very funny lady that everyone knows and loves from Saturday Night Live, and they know her commentary.
Oh, yeah.
They know her commentary from social media during the Olympics and during other things. The Leslie Jones collaborated with Lincoln Project to do this fantastic ad about voter intimidation that we are running across the country in key Black districts, because it is focused on letting Black voters know that we are not going to sit back and take in voter intimidation, nor should they. And it's called Hell No by Leslie Jones.
Talented. She took the idea and turned it into just like an amazing
best. So let's run it.
The Republicans are telling us exactly what they would do on Election Day. It's the same story as 2020. Claim victory before every vote is even counted. Say they won, that the election is over, that we should stop the count. Teams of Republican lawyers would try to strike down the ballots of millions of American voters, especially African Americans. Fake claims of voter fraud, intimidation, and even violence at polling places and drop boxes. Republicans aren't willing to lose, even when they do. But there's no voice louder than your vote. Don't be intimidated. That's right. That's your vote. That's not their vote. Don't let nobody walk up to you and tell you that you can't vote. Cast your absentee ballot and check it. If you vote on Election Day, stay in line. Get it done. They're counting on you to be scared, intimidated, afraid, which you shouldn't be. You really should not be. Nobody should be walking up to you while you're trying to vote. That's your vote. Make your voice heard. Prove them wrong. Don't just tell them no. Tell them hell no. Hell no. H-E double hockey sticks. N-O. No. This message has been approved by Leslie Jones.
Yeah, that's good.
No,
yeah, that is up in communities nationwide in key swing states.
Yep. And targeting historically Black colleges too.
Right. It's really beaming into HBCU areas, because that is a pool of voters that are many times registered but are not as likely to vote. We think that's a really good audience, and we are so grateful to Leslie Jones for that amazing. And like I said, Tara, she took the idea of the script and just bang.
Yeah, well, I mean,
did it.
She's incredibly talented, and that is very on brand for her. And she's, you know, she's real. She's 100, as they say. And it's as the kids say. I don't know if that's cool anymore. Actually, I don't even know if that's cool anymore because I'm not cool. I'm not cool anymore. I've aged out of being cool.
Oh, I was.
We try.
There was a period like in 1986 where I was cool for like an hour. But...
Is that when you had all your hair?
Oh yeah.
Is that the last time?
I started shaving my head sometime around 90. Yeah.
See, it wasn't that far off. No, but it's you know, that's the younger staffers at Lincoln Project tell us, you know, the millennial and Gen Zers on our staff, they correct us so that we try to, you know, when we're not cool, they let us know. But no, Leslie Jones, we are so appreciative of her joining us in this effort. You know, we're really blessed to have really cool celebrities and people join our mission here and join our pirate ship. You know, we've had Mark Hamill work with us this year. I mean, Luke Skywalker, how freaking cool is that? He also wished me a happy birthday on Twitter, which was like one of the highlights of my year. And then we have Peter Coyote, who does those amazing voiceovers. Yes. You know, if anybody's a fan of Ken Burns and his documentaries, Peter Coyote is the voice of those. I mean, these are just fabulous people that love our democracy and work with us.
We're grateful for all their support and their help.
Absolutely.
And so grateful for the color they add to some of these spots that really brings them up to a totally different level.
Yep.
From an ordinary voiceover. I mean, we have some great voiceover talents.
Yes.
Don't mistake me.
Yes.
Sometimes it's Michelle Kinney, our creative director.
Yes, it is. She's a woman of many talents. You should hear her sing.
Yes.
You should hear her sing. We're going to get her to sing on one of these shows one of these days. I'm telling you right now, because she can sing, as they say.
She just in our production chat, Michelle just wrote the word never. I don't look at that as Michelle. I don't look at that as no. I look at that as a challenge.
Yes. Or perhaps we'll all do a karaoke night and we'll get some video and we'll play it on the show. But we're going to get some Michelle Kinney vocals on this show one of these days.
For karaoke night, I'll be doing "Fancy" by Iggy Azalea.
Really? Are you gonna shake it?
Actually, I know every word to "Fancy."
For some reason, I believe that. Actually, I believe that. Before we go, I just want to bring up one other thing. The Barack Obama, who is former President Obama, who is out on the campaign trail, killing it, absolutely killing it. And, you know, I, as someone who was an opponent of Barack Obama's for many years, worked against getting him reelected. And I have to say that the one thing you could never take away from that guy was his ability to campaign. He is the best at this. He's just good at it.
Yep.
And we reran his rally in Wisconsin, where he just knocked it out of the park. It's on, I think, on our YouTube channel. We ran it on Twitter again. If you have not seen it, I'm sure folks have seen some of the clips. That is how you campaign.
Yep.
I wish that he would just do like one of the Democratic retreats and do a masterclass or remind Democrats why they're in this fight.
He has got a talent that, folks, it doesn't just come genetically or by magic. He trained to do that. He's good at it. It's a learnable skill. Now he's got a tremendous gift, but he's also practiced how to communicate like that. It's a learnable skill.
Yes. Not for everybody, but most people, if you're successful in politics, if you've gotten yourself elected, you have the ability to connect with your voters because you got them to vote for you. But it's not only just his delivery, right? At least once. It's not just his delivery, but it was what he focused on and how he communicated that by making it relatable. We have said this. That's why people like the Lincoln Project ads and what we do here, because we're real and we're relatable. We speak plain English. We curse. We're self-deprecating, we make it relatable. And that's the messaging that I hope Democrats take out of the masterclass in campaigning that Obama showed them over the weekend, because it's still not too late. There are a lot of people out there who are still like, I guess I'll get to vote, or, it's not that important. Yes, the hell it is. I think it was P. Diddy.
Unbelievably
vote or die, right? Remember that campaign?
Vote or die.
Right now it's vote or the democracy dies.
Yep.
How about that? Fit that on a bumper sticker.
Well, folks.
7 days. Well,
six days as of right.
6 now.
Get it done. Get out there. We got a lot of work to do between now and then. We're going to keep swinging away at the bad guys. We're going to keep setting the narrative. We're going to keep giving you guys information you can act on and hopefully inspire other people to act on. And until Thursday this week, you've got still a chance to early vote in most places.
Yes. And if you still want to get involved, join the union.us.
They have an action center at action.jointheunion.us that is directly connecting people into campaigns and organizations that are helping get out the vote, that are helping advocate. I really hope you'll do that. I really hope you'll take a look at the union. As we've got over, I think, like 65,000 volunteers now working through the union system, and it is really, really making a difference. And I really encourage you guys to get out and do that.
Yep.
62,000, I'm informed.
Well, maybe by Thursday it'll be 65,000.
Let's add a couple thousand more to that, folks.
That's right.
Let's get out there and fight this thing to the end.
That's right. All right, folks. We will see you on Thursday. Vote to vote.
Thanks,
vote,
everybody.
Vote.